Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. We jumped the ball just a little bit, but let me say hello and welcome. Checking in on everything, making sure we're coming out and clear. I got the chat up tonight. So, welcome where we talk about mind and the body and the spirit and the soul and how they all communicate through this wonderful language, pain. We're going to be talking about how to decode that pain and what those symbols mean and how to interpret that. And we're actually going to be talking about the causes of pain. And I am speaking in context tonight with when it comes to the transformation program of one variety of that. So we don't want to ignore the other causes of pain, but we also want to understand the root that ties it all together. So stay tuned while I bring a few things up and say hello. You know, if you're online tonight, if you're live, I got the chat up like I said. Say hello. I'll drop in a hello there. How am I doing? Can you hear me? And we're going to be talking about a few things when it comes to types of pain. And there are, of course, when you look up anything these days, there's a couple places that you want to see and begin to gather the information. However, we're going to be talking about the principles of pain. And yes, there's going to be a physical cause, there's going to be a logic connection, a biochemical, so like a toxin or a nutritional need. There's also going to be an emotional component. There's going to be other physical alignment. There's going to be causes, going to be stories around it. All that goes into the totality of what it is. And so in my approach in healthcare has been that we need to address each of these levels. And so I'm going to be presenting to you a little bit more today about what that is. So let's say hello. And let me know where you're coming in from in the world today, and we will bring in other thoughts. When it comes to types of pain, there's some big context, there's some big words, some big terms, and I'm going to highlight that right here, right now, and you can see it. Hopefully, you can see my cursor. Yes, you have somatic pain, visceral pain, and neuropathic pain. Now, these are terms that denote a lot of other things. So let's start with visceral. Okay, that's like your guts, your digestive organs, the areas in the chest cavity, viscera. Somatic, go back there. Somatic right here is the physical body parts, the muscles, ligaments, bones, tendons, joints. And then neuropathic, generating from the nerves, the nervous system. Pathology, where is it derived from? Pathology is an incorrect function, inaccurate function, a breakdown of function. And that would be the nervous system component. However, when you look at those three terms, the viscera and the soma all communicate on the neuro. All right, so let's talk a little bit about Decode Your Pain. Decode Your Pain is a book I wrote that brings together a few different concepts. And the reason concepts are important is because of the order in which your brain puts together information. How we look at the world, our beliefs, our perceptions, our expectations, our choices, our decisions, our preferences, our responses, our consequences, and what you get in life, are based on these things called concepts and precepts. And these are from where these concepts and precepts are where we develop when we're young. And then we test them out as we age. But we're also born with certain knowingness, if I say it that way. You know, there's this component when you look at the questions of life. We have our nature, we have our nurture. It's like a rectangle. We have short sides and long sides. You need all four to make a rectangle. And we have our nature, things that we're born with, our automatic behaviors, and some people may say our karma. People may say our mission, our purpose of being here on earth. Then we have our nurture, the environment we grow up in. The people around us, what did they believe? What did they teach? How did they act? These things all play into this wonderful equation, what it is to be a human being, and gives us our infinite variety, what it is to be a human being. So we get to the concepts within Decode Your Pain. Part one here, symptoms are the story. The right spot there for you. All right, symptoms are the story. Life is symbolic. Chapters 1 and chapters 2 and the introduction are quite, let's just say I've got a lot of comments back about it. It's quite remarkable. People to begin to see the problems in their life, the pains in their life, the symptoms in their life in a new way. And that's what we want to do. I might be so bold. I invite you to honor the body, honor your body in a different way. This is how the ancients, the traditional cultures around the world, and even, well, what you would call the Eastern medicine practices or alternative medicine or CAM, complementary alternative medicine systems. And really what that is a way of looking at the body. The ones who practice in that authentically, it's a way of looking at the human body and facilitating the human body to function and work as it was intended, simply by removing interference, releasing blockages to the flow. These concepts are important, yet there is proper physiological information to describe what we're referring to. So in this context tonight, symptoms of the story, chapter 1. We all get sensations in our body from time to time. Some of them are positive, some of them are painful. So these are always messages. These symptoms are messages. It's kind of like a GPS system for how you are in life based on the environment that you're currently in. So how are we doing out there? Dropping some big information tonight, getting some basic concepts out there tonight. If you're liking what you're hearing, give a thumbs up, give it a like. I have the chat up, say hello. We're broadcasting in 7 or 8 different places right now. And so the chat brings it all together in one spot. So I can see if you have a question, pop that right in there. Give a thumbs up, give a love. I want you to take action because it helps me, helps the program, helps it connect to other people. And by doing that is a little bit of action, a little bit of feedback, a little bit of giving to complete the circle of the give and receive. So I'm hoping that your intention today is to grow and get better and learn to understand yourself in new ways. Know thyself. Heal thyself. These are concepts I learned in grad school and undergrad and in my postdoctorate work. These are all concepts that were foundational in the great healers of our time. So I began to explore that myself. And through some of my worst traumas, head injuries, knocking out teeth, many concussions in sports, outside of sports, rough housing, playing, recreational activities, you name it, I have a head injury in it. So that being said, what I'm here to say, and one of the things I want to share out there to people is that there is a natural way to improve after these type of issues. Now, many of you may be unfamiliar with the conversation when it comes to football, American football. I'm sure I know it happens in rugby now too. Conversation of head injuries and what happens in the long term. But this goes with any traumatic experience, whether it's from military action to rough housing. When there's certain context of the head, there's ramifications of that. And how does one rejuvenate from that process, from those issues, and how does one rebound from those traumas? Well, it's naturally born into the human body. So what I want to provide everybody out there is hope that regardless of what's going on in your life, there is an answer, and life is showing you these problems. Life is giving you these problems. It's asking you, it's begging you to dive into it, to self-explore. You can transform it into personal power. And as you do that, it's a learning process of the self. And that is the nature of what I do here at drkevintransformations.com, where what you're seeing is scroll on the bottom right there right now, visionlivingmindset.com. And of course, you can find the other components of the program on drkeving.com. All these access points are below in the description. And the point is, how do you live your best life? And your body is an indicating system within yourself, as always with you. It knows everything about you, and it is there to guide you. So the subconscious communicates in a symbolic manner. All right, folks, we're having a little trouble on the display there. Popping. Here we are. I figured out. There it is. The types of pain. Now, yes, we want to understand that we've all heard acute, chronic, meaning pain that is due to something happening right now. Twisted your ankle. Chronic is, I broke my shoulder 20 years ago and I still feel it today. There's all kinds of pain. So when we go to look at this, there's going to be a conversation of, well, I fell down and had this injury. And so I beg the question of, well, when you fell down, how come we didn't hurt another body part and only that body part? And so what I've recognized is that this life that we have is electromagnetic. And I really dive into that deeply. I wonder if I have that up for you. I was looking at it earlier to share. It's on my Facebook, it's on my YouTube channel. And I'll have it pulled up before the end of the show. And it's really one of my first, I'm going to throw me out here. It's one of my first videos ever created from start to finish while I was testing a lot of technology. But I put together a presentation that demonstrates many of the concepts that shows us that we are energetic. I mean, it's to such a degree, it's almost going to be like a Matrix moment. It's almost going to feel like as if we are in this video game. Where I went with this in my own psyche, it was hard to get to a place that this reality is even real. As you look at some of the science around the holographic universe, things around string theory in the books, the science and spirituality components, quantum physics, this co-creative reality that we're in. And what I began to see in my own life was that where the human brain had physical connections to the body, there was also the emotional components of life. And I'm going to pull up the book. 20 or 40. I'm looking to demonstrate just a few basic concepts here. Yeah, it's page, it's going to be in the 40. Well, now we're hunting in real life. So that's no good. So where the brain slices, if you take it from the side and you slice it, right there you are. And you line up an area that controls the physical body next to the areas that regulate the physical body parts. There we are. It's called the motor homunculus. All right. If I took a slice of my brain right there and then I lined up certain areas, you'd see the emotional centers related to the body parts are in the next slice. And there's tons of interconnections. They wire and crisscross. And the body's constantly learning. And what I was showing you with the body being subconscious, speaking in metaphors, life is symbolic. That's all about the subconscious language. And symbols are very, very powerful in the subconscious mind. So the question that I have in the back of the book, where you can get the free download, get the free download in drkevintransformations.com, is you get this map. And you get to look at the body parts, the emotions and feelings, and the possible symbolism. Now, this is a very brief list, and you got to use your imagination, got to use your faculties of your mind to learn how each body part has a symbolic nature to the subconscious mind. So think about hands for a minute. What do, I mean, literally here, the question, what do hands do? You hold things, you grab things, you pick them up, and you let them go. You release them. So metaphorically, we pick things up and hold them, and we let them go and release them. So metaphorically, there's going to be something to that when one wants to wonder why pain is showing up in the hand. So hands, attachment and control. Now, I didn't invent this. Where my two primary sources are for this are traditional Chinese medicine and Dolores Cannon. And so that's a lot of different things in the Hay House Library. And pretty much all that comes from. And with that being said, I have a wonderful book that has different traditional cultures from American Indians to South American Indians, the native cultures in those areas, and their acupuncture and meridians. It's almost exact. Beautiful. Beautiful how different systems from different times and different eras have the same general map of the energy system, the non-physical anatomy of the human body. Beautiful. These different cultures have pretty much the same exact thing. So what does that tell you? There's something really to it. In science, as one learns to decipher what is good science versus what is crappy science, there's a type of report called type of study called a case study. Now these are general accounts of individual practitioners, individual people. However, when there's enough case studies, it must be considered as valid evidence because there's so many reports of the same thing, of the same pattern, something to it. With that being said, case studies, lots of information overlaying in the same way, in the same manner, give us a universal truth. And so the brain, and we can look at psychology today, I'm sure, and look to find. Let's just do that because I like to do that right in the fly. Let's see here. See if I can pull. There we are. All right. So let's type in. What are we typing in here? We're typing in the psychological symptoms and physical pain. Now, this is maybe it's a more simple search term to pick right now, but that's the one that I came up with, and then we'll see what happens. In the meantime, while it's loading, consider shoulders. I wrote about this in one of the chapters. Responsibility. Think of the terms that we use in the world. Shouldering responsibility, put the burden of responsibilities on your shoulders, the weight of the world's on your shoulders. So in my personal story in the book, when I was moving to Southeast Asia, I moved to Bangkok in Thailand in 2013, and I had made a lot of significant maneuvers in my life, and not everyone agreed with my maneuvers, and yet no one walked my walk, so to speak, my shoes, so to speak. But anyway, with that being said, there was a tremendous amount of responsibility I put on myself. And before I put all this together, I told the story, I'd gone to many chiropractors and many massage therapists, acupuncturists on the road to making my move. And this pain was tremendous. And I could barely get it to go down 10%. However, by day 3, after landing and arrived in Bangkok, Thailand, the pain was 100% gone. That was one of the major motivators for me to going and diving deep into this information now find here in pain. And so I'm inviting you to consider what's going on in your life, both physically and the physical symptoms, and yes, whatever a medical doctor is going to diagnose you with. And I also invite you to consider your life's circumstances as all a metaphor, as all an allegory to describe to you, to begin to show you your own patterns, show you where your own stubbornness, where your own limitations are getting in the way. And sometimes those things are hard to see. Sometimes we call them the shadow self, or the parts of our psyche we don't see, the parts of our behavior we don't know that is affecting us. There's other tools and other systems to begin to understand yourself more. However, depending on where you are in your studies, well, we all walk on our own skin. We all know our own body. So we can begin to decipher what it's telling us. Let's go back to the web search. A minute to load up. I have a lot of things running here and probably need a little refresh and restart my computer. But anyway, now this is, where am I here? I'm searching on Bing, and we have this first quote here. According to Carla Manley, PhD, clinical psychologist and author, people with mental illness can experience a range of physical symptoms: muscle tension, pain, headaches, insomnia, and feelings of restlessness. Now, however, I will strongly debate the term mental illness in this definition. It's like saying, does stress cause pain? Does stress cause symptoms? Is stress a mental illness? Well, I digress. No, it's part of the spectrum of what it is to be a human being. And when we have mental strife, mental stress, man, this definition is rough. We have this mental stress, this mental situation, not mental illness, normal mental function in response to the environment. Dr. Carla Manley. I would love, if anyone knows Dr. Carla Manley, I'd love to have an interview about this topic with her. And it would be great to share. If anybody knows her, that would be a great win. So with that being said, let's go down and take some other definitions here. When psychological pain becomes physical, all right, there's a threshold. It's true, there is a threshold. And what is the regulator of that system? Well, it's the nervous system. Beautiful. So let's wrap things up with this. Question is, do you agree or disagree? Healing is based on this simple truth. Body is self-healing and self-regulating. Can you agree with that statement or not? Let's take a look. Let's take a look here. Well, I've been handling this a lot. My daughter is running around. She's going to be athletic, running around all over the place, but she's got scraped knees everywhere. Do I really have to do anything to get her knees to heal? I mean, make sure you clean them. Get some clean, some basic soap. None of that fancy with all the chemicals and stuff. Basic soap and water, get it clean. If it's bleeding, get a Band-Aid on it, get some gauze on it, stop the bleeding. However, once we handle the basics, the body doesn't need anything. In fact, really, if I didn't do anything, the body would heal it over time. Do you agree with that or not? Think about it. The classic example in the profession here is if you cut a piece of steak, you cut a corpse, does it get better? I mean, it's kind of a silly question, but it's an obvious question. So what's the difference between that corpse and my daughter's knee? Well, the simple answer is she's alive, right? So what's that difference? I mean, literally, everything's the same. Bones, the muscles, the ligaments, the tendons, the joints. What is different? Life force. Life force is different. So let's consider self-regulation. Remember the question here. Body is based on the simple truth. The body is self-healing and self-regulating. And we just talked about the self-healing component. So consider your answer. Can you agree the body is self-healing? But how about, wrong screen. Here we are. So we were just looking at, is the healing is based on the simple truth? And we just talked about self-healing, cutting yourself versus cutting a corpse. What's the difference? And can you agree that the body has self-healing ability? But self-regulating. Your spleen, your pancreas, all the intestines, the heart, the liver, the kidneys here. Lymph nodes, the lymph system. is self-regulating. Right. It is. Can you agree with that? Ask yourself that question. So now we want to understand point number 2 here. There we are. The purpose of the brain and nervous system is to control and coordinate functions of all the cells, tissues, organs in the body, and to adapt the organism to the environment. So the purpose is to control and coordinate and to adapt. Control and coordinate and to adapt. Now this comes out of Gray's Anatomy. Foundation, there's any medical text you can find this about the purpose of the brain and nervous system. So we talk about adapting to stress. If our environment is full of things that stress us out, well, your body's going to express certain symptoms. I invite you to Google search. I don't sort of like Google anymore, but what symptoms does stress cause? Nice simple search and take a look. Let's zoom in a little closer right here. See if we can get a better. Irritability, anxiety, depression, headaches, insomnia. This is stress.org. So this looks pretty official. As you can see, we're on relaxing mode right now. We're invoking the vibe of good vibrations. American Institute of Stress. First time on this website. You take the quiz. Here we go. Good stuff right here. I mean, you can only see some of it. This American pop-ups. Let's just go. This is stress.org. Let's go through a few things. And so, what is stress? It's the body's attempt, the body's attempt to adapt to its environment based on the perceptions that it's holding within. So, if you expect something to be a certain way and it's not, well, that's going to be a stressor to you. So, take a look at this list. Who has some of this stuff? And I invite you to consider, well, how does the body process stress and how do we help it process stress in better ways? I mean, look at this, number 11. Colds, infections, herpes sores, unexplained allergy attacks. I mean, I've seen people have physical acne breakout and it disappear in 24 hours during a stressful event, and also in the healing of that stressful. Amazing. Now, where can you find this information? Well, drkeving.com and About Me has a lot of information, but neuroemotional technique, core specific technique, different other physical techniques which release tension on the physical body also have a wonderful history of releasing the emotional interference. It's quite an amazing situation. The point being is your body is more indifferent than you thought or have been told that it is. It's always speaking to you. Your body is built to heal. And let's go right there. And its purpose is to adapt. Its purpose is to be coordinated and to function. And basically, is there anything your nervous system does not regulate? And the answer is no. We literally live our lives through our nervous system. So if there's interference in this system, well, then your body cannot function at its full capacity. It's no longer self-healing and self-regulating at 100% ability. So, get a better view here. Sorry about that. The longer this interference is present, well, the worse it gets and more it affects you. And our medical system, while it does wonderful things in traumatic experiences, traumatic events for people, when it comes to the long-term health and wellness of an individual, it falls far, far short. Here we are. And so these subluxations, this term of interference is of the physical level, is of the mental level, is of the biochemical level, and is of the energetic level. What do I mean by energy? Well, yes, I do mean like, cell phone tech, I mean, all this Wi-Fi, yes, but there's also cosmic levels of these waves. There's Terra, there's Earth, there's different frequencies and vibrations from the physical Earth itself. We know there's weapon systems. My goodness. And there's even intention, effects by attention, effects from your own thinking habits. All this plays a role. It's an amazing experience. One discovers. So my job is to locate, analyze, and release these subluxations and their causes. Now, sometimes the release is simply a conversation. It is so wonderful, and you can note this. You can pre and post measure conversation in the person's the person's body. Their measurements, their test results are different. Certain kind. Now, there's physical changes, a way to do that, to locate and analyze of the physical body. There's mental, emotional ways. There's energetic. And this can happen in location, hands-on healing, but also can happen at a distance remotely. We're demonstrating this. We have a full-on program doing this. It's called Synergy Solutions. The point being here, my purpose, my job, my mission is to help your body regain its self-healing and self-regulating properties, thereby allowing you to optimal health, well-being, longevity, and quality of life. Excuse me. This is my purpose. So welcome. Any thoughts, comments, questions, please put them in the chat below. I want to thank you for tuning in tonight. We're going live in a few minutes in the Winning in Every Situation webinar. How do you get access to that? You'll see that scrolling down below in just a moment. And there's a couple ways to get in there. drkeving.com. Winning in Every Situation, visionlivingmindset.com. And all that shows and goes into the various programs and networks, and you get dripped along into a system of information to grow your life, to have greater awareness, to have greater skill sets, to literally become your own healer. Go through the awareness, awakening, healing process to align your mind, your body, your spirit, and your soul with the vision that's in your heart, and to live it in this life. How do you do that? Well, that's the steps through the Winning in Every Situation process as we go through the laws of success, the laws of our reality. And now we are actually delivering and understanding the laws of the land. And so you keep and grow your personal power, your personal sovereignty, and to know your true value as a king or a queen here in this earthly domain. Blessings, best regards, everybody. If you liked what you saw tonight, take action, go to one of the links scrolling below. Send me a question, hop on a clarity call. Let's work through this together, because all ships rise in the tide. And as I help you live your vision to your fullest extension, well, we all going to go in a better place. Thank you, and blessings and best to everyone.
Hello and welcome. I'm Dr. Kevin Jr. This is the first introductory video in becoming your own healer.
first part of feeling energy is the knowledge base. Second part is learning to attune your body to sensing how to detect the energy. To shift healthcare in this